Hi everyone, Alan Lepofsky here from Constellation Research, where I'm attending the SharePoint 2018 North American Conference. This morning they made lots of announcements about new product features and roadmap items that are going to be shipping later this year as they sort of march towards the Ignite conference later in September. Some of the major announcements were things like better integration between Microsoft Teams and SharePoint. For example, Microsoft Teams can now have a tab for files that are stored in SharePoint document libraries. You can have pages from SharePoint now show up as tabs inside Microsoft Teams, and vice versa. They're working on the ability to bring Microsoft Teams conversations and channels into the SharePoint environment. So you're going to see more integration in that. The second thing that was a big announcement is a new SharePoint site type for news and organizational news. So you're going to be able to sort of tailor information that's being sent to employees based on their geography or their roles or things like that, and they'll be able to see that information again broadcast into Microsoft Teams. Now those site pages are beautiful, look like web pages with lots of graphics and videos and map integration and data integration, so very easy to create inside the SharePoint environment and very easy to broadcast out that information to the audience that needs to see them. Now, perhaps one of the most sort of impacting, or at least eye-candy type of announcements, was the announcement of a new immersive SharePoint site that allows mixed reality content to be brought directly into SharePoint sites, created actually directly in SharePoint sites. So when you think about virtual reality and augmented reality, traditionally you think of developers having to code in languages like Unity, and it's a very complicated process. What Microsoft wants to do is make it as easy for anyone that can create a SharePoint page to actually create 3D immersive content. So you could do things like product catalogs or tours of locations or stores or things like that, and people can view them right inside SharePoint pages. Now you can also view them inside headsets, so things like Oculus Rifts and Hive and HTCs and all of these different devices, you'll be able to look at them in augmented and virtual reality if you'd like, but that's not necessary. You will be able to actually just look at them on the screen in SharePoint pages as well. So that's called SharePoint Spaces, and that was a big announcement, and you'll see more coming in that space. Now, the last part that I think was really interesting were announcements around better integration with cognitive services from Microsoft Azure. So the ability to take content, use things like Microsoft Flow, and actually grab content either from Microsoft sources or web sources, pipe that information into cognitive services, be able to see things like sentiment analysis, and then bring that data back into the Microsoft platform. So there's a lot better integration with that business data and business intelligence with some of those cognitive services. So those are some of the big announcements. I think overall, if I had to summarize it, really what Microsoft is doing is they're focusing very hard on enhancing the collaboration services that employees use to work together to create content, to share knowledge, and to make that overall SharePoint experience better. Now, SharePoint is part of the larger Office 365 family. You can use things like Outlook, you can use Teams, you can use SharePoint sites. So there's lots of ways for people to work together inside the Microsoft portfolio. Obviously, this conference is very heavily focused on that content-centric collaboration, those intranet pages, those team sites, those communication sites that are created in SharePoint. This is Alan Lepofsky coming to you from the SharePoint conference. I'll speak to you later. Bye.